Have you ever tried to straighten out your life? Maybe not, but I have. And this is how I did it. These are the words with which we meet J.D. Munger, a young boy with dwarfism, is preparing something special with dangerous ingredients. Well, not that dangerous. While some families are made up of dentists or lawyers, J.D. has been contributing only one thing to the world for generations: criminals. Along with his twin brother Mo, the young man manages to open the principal's safe, obtaining the immense loot of $38. It's a start. Just today is Thanksgiving, so the brothers start wondering about their mother, Kay. Just then, she appears with her boyfriend Glenn, and if you're wondering, yes, he was fleeing the police. I told you this family is peculiar, which is why it will miss dinner. She only came to grab her things to leave quickly. Although JD and Mook want to leave with their mother, she clarifies that they still don't have what they need. For now, the best thing they can do is take care of each other while they wait for her return. And that's exactly what the brothers do in the coming years, gradually moving up in the ranks of their misdeeds. Sometimes they get away with it and sometimes they don't, but they are always together through thick and thin. And that's how we arrive at the present, when the brothers continue with their antics. This time they rob a warehouse on a rainy night. This seemed like a clear escape route, or so they thought, because J.D. is caught by a group of officers. Mook, who was a little further back, stays in his hiding place and ends up fleeing. A low blow for J.D., although he's already short. After 5 years in prison, J.D. he gets out earlier than expected thanks to his good behavior and his friendship with Farfel, a kind guard who led him down the right path. Said no one ever. Because he actually has a deal with Farfel, who spoke well of him for his release in exchange for certain stolen emeralds. On the other hand, Mook leads a modest life as a hard-working man and future family man with his wife Abby. Although they have love, they are always tight on money. Lately, Mook's been on a good streak at his latest job, even bought a house with a loan, though out of nowhere his boss fires him for hiding his criminal past. After this setback, Mook returns home to find another surprise, his dear brother J.D., and he's not happy at all. Since not only did he turn his back on him when he was captured, but he never visited him in prison, where being there through thick and thin mattered. But JD didn't come to talk about his feelings, he came for work. To pay Farfel, he plans to rob the safe of a clothing store, nothing the brothers haven't done before, although Mook promised to leave his bad habits behind. Respecting his brother's decision, JD returns to his apartment, considering an alternative plan. When checking his phone, he sees that he has a bunch of missed calls from Farfel.
Where is this phone?
And that's why he must always answer Farfel. He asks him again about the emeralds, to which Jody comments that he needs time to assemble the team. Farfel gives him that time, but reminds him that his father, the judge, lacks patience and only he can keep him from returning to prison. After receiving another courtesy blow, JD is awakened by his brother who, upon hearing the deal with Farfel, realizes that his situation is worse than he thought. That and the memory of what he did in the warehouse make Mook change his mind. He is going to help his brother steal that safe. After Mook makes up a white lie for his wife, the brothers set off for the so-called store. For his part, Farfel breaks into JD's apartment, only to find he left his phone behind, which he was tracking him with. Ashamed, Farfel goes to inform his father, Judge Farfel, indicating that he has JD's fingerprints on a weapon, so he can present it as evidence that he broke his parole. His father, far from being satisfied, exclaims that the only thing he wants are the emeralds, meaning move it, Farfel. Returning to the brothers, JD convinces Mook to make a small stop at Bethesda's house, an admirer he chatted with online from prison, while G catches up with her. Mook waits in the living room when Norangudan appears, who knows sign language and also gives him the cigarette. Bethesda is that kind of person. Speaking of her, when she goes to the bathroom, JD steals her employee car. At the same time, Mook makes friends with the orangutan, even petting it, but then the animal moves his hand to its private areas. Mook naturally makes a scene, causing Bethesda to accuse the brothers of being perverts. When fleeing the house, Mook refuses to tell his brother what happened, although he still gives him hand sanitizer if he knows. Already in a motel, while JD is showering, Mook notices Bethesda's car. He doesn't work in a clothing store, but in construction. As a result, the man continues searching through his brother's belongings until he finds a letter from their mother. Indignant, Moke asks JD why their mother sends him letters while he receives nothing. JD points out that he has always been more sensitive and that this could destabilize him. And he's not wrong, since Mook turns the room upside down and leaves the motel. However, on the way, he encounters another surprise: his mother. In a bar, Kat tells them that in that heist 30 years ago, her boyfriend Glenn swallowed his loot out of fear of being caught by the police. Guess what? The loot was emeralds. Although they escaped from the police, Glenn ended up dying and she had to bury him in an empty lot before fleeing the country. Speaking of that, a still hurt Maug asks her why she came back now. If she was doing so well abroad, Kath, with a lump in her throat, reveals that she is dying of cancer. Hopefully, she has 1 year left to live. Upon hearing that, Mohawk vents in the bathroom while his brother apologizes for not telling him. If he had, he wouldn't have wanted to come. Besides, they won't leave empty-handed. Their target is the emeralds, valued today at $4 million plus inflation. It's enough for the brothers to retire, especially Mook, who has a daughter on the way. With this in mind, Maug goes out with a different attitude and ends up joining his mother and brother in karaoke. He missed them both. At dawn, Maug is awakened by a fly that got into his mouth. When he heads to the bathroom, he finds his brother sleeping with a girl he met at the bar. What a night last night. On the other hand, Farfel shows up at Bethesda's house and forces her to tell him about the brothers. Of course, it doesn't come free. With Bethesda's car, Mo accesses a construction area and takes an excavator with it. The Munger enter the plot where Glenn was buried, now a golf course. Following Kat's instructions, Mo digs until he finds Glenn's body. The problem is that it's a golf course and naturally, the players catch him red-handed. Moke manages to recover the emeralds just before the players arrive, who chase them in their golf carts. This is going to get good. In the end, the Mungers, together, take down their pursuers and escape. After burying Glenn's body in a forest, they celebrate their success. Amidst euphoria, J.D. tells his brother he was fired days ago and is now a millionaire. Moog stops, as he never mentioned his dismissal. With no other option, J.D. admits that he pretended to be a prison officer to provoke his dismissal and thus force him to be part of the plan. Furious, Moog pushes him into Glenn's pit, blaming him for tarnishing his record, despite having a baby on the way. That's how Kat learns she'll be a grandmother, which she discusses privately with. He complains about his brother, claiming that he has always used him, although his mother reminds him of the other good qualities he has. Moreover, she doesn't have much time left. The last thing she wants is her children fighting. Not far away, J.D. was waiting in the excavator when an old friend, Farfel, shows up. Mook soon appears struggling with the officer while J.D. throws the emeralds far away. In that moment, Farfel gets Mook off him at gunpoint and then sees Kat taking the emeralds, threatening her children. He urges her to come out of hiding and hand over her loot. He doesn't see that coming. Both Farfel and the brothers chase her, but she escapes in a car. Frustrated, the officer settles for arresting the brothers, but they are not thinking about the cell that awaits them, but rather about what their mother did, or J.D. He thinks it's part of a plan. Mook advises him to open his eyes. Their mother abandoned them again. Convenient, but I take it. With Farfel's car and obviously without him inside, the brothers head to a drain where they plan their upcoming moves. Well, J.D. doesn't have any, as he now realizes that their mother did indeed abandon them. Therefore, he asks Mook to return to his wife, who is already starting to worry. However, Mook refuses to leave him, not while Judge Farfel has a weapon with his fingerprints. The brothers then resume the search for their mother, discovering that she sold the emeralds for cash. When they demand their deserved share, the lady runs away to an abandoned shopping mall. As the brothers chase her, Farfel does the same by tracking the GPS of her car. Mook is the first one to intercept Kay, and during a struggle with her, the bag filled with money ends up falling right at the feet of J.D. What a perfect moment for Farfel to join the party. While the police officer shoots wildly, the brothers reunite and plan the counterattack, which involves surrendering to Farfel, as strange as it sounds, or at least only J.D., since he wants his brother to go unpunished. Far from taking it well, Mock thinks it's a dirty tactic to flee with the money and Farfel, his prison accomplice. This sparks a sibling argument that Farfel halts with gunfire. He finally gets what he wanted. And if that wasn't enough, goodbye, Farfel. We'll miss you, I think. However, this isn't the end. Following the scandal, the police have surrounded them. While the brothers think about what to do, their mother comes out of hiding and asks them for their money. Disappointed, they prepare to give it to her, but she only takes their shotgun. Why? Because she's going to confront the police too by them sometime. By the way, she's not dying. Another white lie. Thanks to this, Mog can meet with Judge Farfel and obtain the evidence against his brother in exchange for his share of the money. Having done that, Mook arrives just in time for Thanksgiving dinner with his wife and family. J.D. shows up later, telling his brother he shouldn't have given up his share for him. Mo responds it was an investment, and since they're at it, J.D., he also made one through a lawyer, creating a trust for his future niece, valued at $1 million. Honor among thieves. 1 year later, the brothers visit their mother in prison, along with a new member of their family. The brothers leave the meeting with something in hand, a couple of emeralds that Kath had swallowed before being caught by the police. A final gift from their mother. If you don't watch another video, an orangutan will appear smoking in your living room. Don't ask how, just choose.